always make the joke, like, anytime I do get a female follower, I'm like the Matt Rife for ugly bitches. Yeah. But you're freed up now, right? Like, how long have you been gone from the steel mill now?
About 2 months now.
Wow.
Does it feel like you're retired?
It does. It feels like my wife's got a newfound hate for me. Whenever she gets up at 6:30 or whatever, and I'm just...
Oh, yeah. Well, she's been going hard on the social media, too, it seems
Yeah,
like.
I've started her page because it reaches the females.
Yeah.
So we do couple stuff for that. Because I have none. Like, my page is like 90% guys.
Yeah. I always make the joke, like, anytime I do get a female follower, I'm like the Matt Rife for ugly bitches. Yeah, like the most. I probably should cut that so my followers don't unfollow me, and I'm down to. I go from 100 to
No, because the women will be like, "Oh, he's talking about everybody else but me."
Yeah,
Not me.
I guess nobody holds beauty in my eyes like my wife, and that's the problem.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I got to buy back some points because I slept in today when she got the boy training.
Paul has a day job, and I'm still getting up way before him, and he still stays out late and sleeps in, and so.
The life of a comic.
Yep.
Well, you kind of have the road life right now too. You just you went to WWE SummerSlam, and you're not even a big WWE guy. You used to like it, right?
Used to love it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I wore this just for you.
Man, I love it.
TikTok shop is where it's at. I'm telling you, dude. I didn't watch it at all the past, I don't know, 15 years or so. Maybe longer than that. Because I stopped watching it like when Stone Cold pretty much left his height. I was probably 10, 12, something like that. But, dude, I don't think I owned a shirt that wasn't a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt when I was a kid. I mean, obsessed. And, I got in an argument with a kid the other day, and I feel dumb, but, like, he was probably, like, 16, 17, something like that, and he's commenting on the SummerSlam video, and because I mentioned Stone Cold Steve Austin in it, and the guy's like, yeah, man, he wasn't good, blah, 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 blah. I was like, yeah, I'm not saying he was, like, a high-flying wrestler of any. I was like, but, dude, you weren't alive to understand the chokehold that this man had on the world at that point in time. Like, it was unreal. They were putting him on everything. Leno, I mean, he was throwing out first pitches at Dodgers games.
Now he's just hanging out with Ponzu the cat, right?
Poncho the cat.
Poncho.
Yeah,
I'm following his Instagram.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's so entertaining, man. I love those
That's
cats.
all Kyle. I don't ever watch the videos he sends me because most of them are crap. So but a lot of them are of the cat.
Of Poncho. Well, that might be worth going to WrestleMania next year because he's already teased pretty hard he's going to be there.
That'd be awesome.
It's in Vegas, too.
I'd love to meet him. The highlight of my life is that he's liked my reels.
Yeah.
Like, that's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's up there. That's awesome.
I'm telling you. My buddy is like, so, Stone Cold Steve Austin knows what your living room looks like. I was like, that's true.
It's pretty dope.
It's weird.
Yeah,
that's
man,
awesome.
we got to hook that up, man. It's I guess it's like March or April. And I have a hookup in Vegas. We can get a free suite at the Bellagio.
Love it.
Heck, you got pretty much a direct line to the WWE too, right?
Yeah, the GM now has been talking to me a pretty good bit. He saw the videos. He likes the grandpa stuff. And he's like, we gotta do some like cameos with you on WWE socials. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's pretty cool.
It's so crazy. Sometimes they have a cameo where like they really get the person involved in the ring too.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Like, just let me go in there and like give somebody a stunner, and I would be.
That.
You know what I mean?
I couldn't be friends with you anymore. Honestly, like that would affect our friendship at the molecular level. I couldn't do it.
What if I brought you along?
Well, if I can watch and meet Stone Cold, I'd be pretty down with that. Now, Trent Richardson was talking about, when I was talking to him the other day, that Undertaker hit him up out of nowhere, and he didn't know that Undertaker was like a big Bama fan and wanted Trent to come on the podcast.
That's cool. Either.
Yeah, dude, Undertaker, he's a great. There's all those guys we remember from the late '90s, early 2000s. Yeah. The guys who would get us suspended from school because we would go.
The Attitude Era.
So
and I'm not WWE. It seems to be getting its hype back now that it's got the Paul brothers and all this involved in it. But like, dude, back then it was just like the whole world.
Yeah.
Like I remember my parents, everybody would like watch Raw and like rent pay-per-views. It was insane.
Well, speaking of the Paul brothers, man, have you gotten any like would you have a target for yourself for a celebrity boxing match, a social media boxing match? Is there anybody out there that you
I would definitely not challenge one of the Paul brothers. I would, like give me like Cornbread Cowboy or somebody that we're both going to get tired about the same time.
I always make the joke I want a celebrity box Shane Gillis, but
That'd be great.
I'm not a celebrity, so it would just be him fighting a regular guy. You know, you're like, I don't know who this guy is. This 6'9". Oh man, this is another thing. So I did your podcast, right?
Yeah.
And the clip you sent and that you put out, I'm talking about how big of a picky eater I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I over exaggerate my weight on that. I was like, I weigh 470 pounds. Dude, like 4 people called my wife and was like, Kyle really weighs 470 pounds? And I didn't know whether to be mad at the fact people thought that or that I've gotten so fat that it could be believable. You know what I mean?
You're just a big dude. Oh, you don't
Like
look fat. You're just a big dude.
When you said it to me, I knew you were joking.
Yeah.
Like it was an outrageous number.
Seriously, like 4 people asked her that. 4
Including my sister. My sister called me and was like, I have a question. And I was like,
Should we talk to Kyle?
I was like, okay.
It might be time for Ozempic or something.
We can start a GoFundMe.
I saw a picture the other day of Lainey Wilson, and you know that famous picture of her where her pants are hugging her ass perfectly, and then the next one where she's lost all the weight, and the caption was like, "I'll never forgive you for this Ozempic."
She's kind of, you haven't seen much of her lately anymore. I know everybody's still going crazy for like Jelly Roll and Morgan Wallen, but it is funny how like, and I guess you could speak to this too, how like fame, some people can't bottle it up and get longevity out of it.
And some people can, yeah. I think when musicians, the thing about it is you have to be like Jelly Roll. Like Jelly, I got to hang out with him at SummerSlam, and my uncle is his guitarist. Jelly, the difference is Jelly does not stop. Mm-hmm. He does not stop. This dude, every day they're going somewhere and then they're going somewhere else. And like as soon as they're done, like dude, the second they were done with SummerSlam, we probably hung out, I would say 20 minutes before they were like, let's go. Oh, yeah. And I would ask my uncle, I was like, where y'all going? And he's like, we got another show tomorrow morning. So
did you say that the guitarist is your uncle?
That's right.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's name drop. He's been some pretty cool people's bandmates. Like he was in Old Crow Medicine Show for a long time. Played with Ashley McBride for a while. Did some stuff with Blake Shelton, Alison Krauss. Like he's been now with Jelly. So
yeah.
I went to my successful job. I went to the Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and someone pointed out a lady there whose husband is the drummer for the Zach Brown band.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize he was from Gardendale, and I
didn't realize he got so shredded.
Oh yeah.
God, dude, I saw a music video, and he was on Theo's podcast the other day, and I was like, "Is that Zach Brown? He's ripped. He's got neck tattoos now." I was like, "What is going on?"
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
you wouldn't recognize him.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen a picture of him.
Funky dude.
Yeah.
Really?
Doing the little bit of chicken fried.
He was just your average guy, you know. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's great. More people that are in shape, and I'm just still.
Well, Well, I mean,
470
it's weird
pounds.
that he waited so long. He's been famous for a long time, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to get shredded.
Well, I feel like everybody can get in shape now with the pharmaceuticals. You know,
if you got enough money, you just hire somebody to tell you what to take and what to do.
Yeah.
They cook your meals.
You can spend $24 a month on a gym membership.
Oh, yeah. All right. You're fired from the podcast.
First of all, where are you going to the gym for $24? Can you even get in Planet Fitness for that?
24E here in Gardendale. That's what I pay.
They're not sponsored.
That's a hell of a commute for me.
24E.
Speaking of which, I have an ad read. I think we share a sponsor, so I'm going to read this real fast if you don't mind.
Do it.
Okay. This is Cracker Barrel. They've recently come on board. Here at Cracker Barrel, our staff is warm and welcoming, just like the South. And now here at Cracker Barrel, we promise 60% less semen in our famous country gravy. So thank you, Cracker Barrel, for the sponsorship.
60% less is quite elite.
Yeah, it's a lot. You know, I think word came down from the FDA. We need to dial it back.
Well, there goes my diet.
Oh, I love Cracker Barrel, man.
Who doesn't? God, Cracker Barrel's
you did
amazing. I watched. I can't remember the name of it, but it was god awful. Like And, you know, every time Netflix releases something, or any of the platforms, they release something, they'll throw it up there when it's new and be like, this is top 10 in the U.S. right now. And you're like, is it though? Or is it because you told everybody to watch it and now it's that?
Yeah.
And everybody gets to the end and the conclusion is it's ass. But we watched this movie the other day and it was, dude, the acting was horrible. The jokes were corny. Like, I felt like a child could have wrote it. Like, I felt like AI could have done a better job writing this movie.
It probably was what wrote it.
It was horrible. Yeah. And I was talking to my buddy the other day, like, when I was growing up, you had the Adam Sandler group of people. Mm-hmm. Like, they made their movies. You had, then the Will Ferrell group of people came along. Then the Seth Rogen group of people come along. And I just don't feel like we have a group of people doing the comedy stuff anymore.
Did you see Vince Vaughn's interview with Hot Ones?
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it was on there where he talked about, like, you can't make movies anymore. And I thought he was going to go, because everything's woke and everything's PC, which is true to an extent. But he went more of like, it's because nobody wants to do anything without an existing IP. Everything needs to be a sequel or a comic book movie or a video game. And there's not really a space
or just for remaking an old.
Yeah, man. Nobody wants it.
I don't either.
Like,
I still refuse to watch the new White Men Can't Jump. White Men Can't Jump is one of my favorite movies. It's probably my favorite movie ever. So I just refuse to watch this new one. I know it's probably, even if it's good, it sucks.
Oh, yeah, it's going to suck. I mean, well, even like, we're big comic book movie fans, and so we went and watched Deadpool and Wolverine. And, it's good if you like comic books and you pop for things like cameos and stuff like that. But like, men. Or attractive men. Yes, that's, that's why we bought tickets twice. But if you just watch it like a linear story and you're trying to be engaged with it, man, it's a little rough. Not gonna lie.
I bet. I love the first one. I want to see Deadpool Wolverine. I just hadn't seen it yet.
It's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. It's just, you can tell, and they were hamstrung a little bit too by the writer's strike at the time.
Oh, sure.
So like they couldn't go back and do reshoots. They couldn't do like certain edits they wanted to do. I think that's glaring, but it also just seems to have that fingerprint of by a corporate committee, which is shocking considering like Ryan Reynolds pretty much, I mean, they had a director, but Ryan Reynolds pretty much called the shots.
Well, that's the thing is like Ryan Reynolds has showed you with the first one and the second one, like, I can get results if you just let me do what I want to do. Like, I don't need a corporate thumbprint on it. He could probably sell it by himself and it would do just as well. Matt Damon was talking about the other day. I watched him. It might have been Hot Ones, but I don't think it was. But like, he's talking about the same thing. He's like, back in the day, you could make some crazy movie that you wanted to make, and even if you didn't kill the box office, your DVD sales could make up for it. So it wasn't that big of like a... Now nobody wants to take a chance.
Yeah.
They don't want to take a chance. I don't want to lose $100 million or whatever it is. So the studios don't greenlight little rom-com movies or like edgy comedies, that might become a cult classic and just crush all the numbers that they need because nobody's buying DVDs.
And those are some of the best too.
Exactly.
Grandma's Boy, it's a shining example. There's one, I've told you a million times. My favorite comedian is Norm Macdonald.
Right.
He had one just like that. It's called Dirty Work. And it's very much in the vein of a Grandma's Boy or any of the Sandler productions that came out in the 90s and flopped at the box office.
Yeah.
And they come out on DVD, and now it's a cult classic.
I'm not old enough to know whether or not like Happy Gilmore and all these things flopped or not, but I know that people still watch them right now. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like
Happy Gilmore 2 is fixing to happen.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
how do y'all feel about that?
I'm almost disappointed. Like,
I'm a little bit too. It's like the same reason we don't need a rebooted Office.
Well, I listened to him on Rogan the other day, and he's like, yeah, people have just been begging me to do it for years. And I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've just been on and on and on about it. I don't feel like it will be anything like the first one.
I don't either. I bet they go completely subversion of expectation on what you think the story's going to be, too.
Sure. I know Nick Schwartzen's in it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's probably going to be over the top. The thing about those Adam Sandler movies back in the day was they had a little bit of surreal to them, but like it had a pretty set storyline, something that maybe could happen, something like that. But like, I feel like this is going to be just over the top.
It used to be grounded absurdity.
Right.
So it was absurdity, but everything was grounded around it. It's like if you compare the first Anchorman to the last Anchorman.
I
where
agree.
it's just like big explosion fight scenes at the end. It's like,
And I think a lot of that is probably the corporate side of things being like, no, we need bigger, we need better. They do the same thing with video games. Like, no matter how many times the kids are like, hey man, we loved Halo 3. Just keep everything like the same. Give us some new maps, make the graphics better.
Yeah.
And they said no. Like, your 343s and whoever else are like, no. Bigger, better, faster, like whatever.
Yeah.
And to the point where people are like, no, that's not what we wanted. And like, they don't care. They'll just, a lot of times the corporate offices just don't understand like what they want.
Well, they know people are going to still buy it. It's like,
Sure.
people complained about Madden for years.
But they'll play Halo 3 for 20 years.
Yeah.
They're not going to play Halo Infinite for 20 years.
And I'm a retro video game collector, so
Yeah.
I go back and I'll play the NES and have more fun than...
Oh, dude, I love playing NES games. And now you get to play them like, me and my son will play them on the Switch because they're all in one spot. You can just click to it, you know?
The Switch has got to be one of the best consoles of all time.
I think it is too. It doesn't get enough credit.
And now they're getting ready to make a new one. I'm like, why? It's fine the way it is.
Exactly. It's not like you're going to put better graphics on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nintendo's not known for that. I don't want to play a Mario game where he looks real.
Yeah.
He should look like a cartoon.
Well, I wish we had the game room set up, because one thing I wanted to do with you and we just couldn't pull it off is to get over there and get a camera roll and challenge you to Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah.
But the woman you want to play, like, she's nice and soft, dude, she turns into a monster when it comes to video games.
He is lying. He doesn't know.
I don't believe
That's the only time she cusses. I swear.
I've never cussed a day in my life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dude, just get her on.
Mario Kart will bring that out in you. That's actually, that video I did about Mario Kart is my best video to date.
Oh, really?
I've never had that many views. It's like almost like 50 million.
It's so
There's a
relatable.
scene in The Sopranos where the Tony Soprano comes and he's playing Mario Kart with his son, and it makes me so aggressively angry because you can totally tell he's not, because he's holding it with one hand.
that type of stuff drives me crazy too.
I'm just like, that's not how you play Mario Kart. Obviously, they're not playing Mario Kart. You gotta have two hands on that controller.
Yeah, she's a psychopath.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people will bring that up. That's why I had to do it on the Switch. Had to have a Switch controller. Because I knew if you did it anywhere else, they'd be like, he's not fucking playing Mario Kart. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of people still was like, how are you playing Mario Kart with an Xbox controller? And dude, people would eat them alive in the comments like, that's a Switch controller.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know if you have this for your Switch, because you mentioned the library of the old games.
Yeah.
They sell the old console controllers that are Switch controllers.
Yeah.
So.
I don't have one. My wife wants some of like the N64 ones for sure. Because it would make Mario 64 feel like Mario 64.
It's great.
Because it doesn't feel like it in the Switch controller.
No.
But you will never get where you're really playing it on the Nintendo 64 with all the glitches.
I agree.
Because, like the glitches, the cheat codes and
I
stuff,
agree.
you'll never have that because they have all of that fixed.
I remember
So-
sitting there. You know how you used to have to take Bowser and like spin him and then throw him?
Yeah.
I remember my hand as a kid just getting so sweaty. I'd have a towel in there like,
Yeah. Sorry. I hope I'm okay for the show tonight, man. It's drainage.
I've
It's
been
killing
telling
me.
him to go to the doctor to get a shot for 2 days because I was like, you need to be prepared for the show.
Well,
And guess who hasn't?
I took inspiration from my buddy here and decided to like stack 1 week with guests. And holy shit, I don't know how you do it.
What did you do yesterday?
Edited.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. How many guests have you had? What's the most you've had in one day or a week?
nah, the only time I've had 2 in a day is the day that you were there.
Yeah.
But I've had like 3 in a week.
That's rough, man.
It is. And like, editing's the worst part. It's not doing them. I don't mind that. That part's fun. It's when I'm sitting there afterwards like, oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I'm pretty much to where they're like a week out. So
Yeah.
it's not that bad.
Do you feel like the editing process, going back and watching it over and over again, as you do with editing, it makes you better for when you get back on cam, like a better interviewer? Or
Sometimes.
This is just self-deprecating. Like, I'm never doing this again.
I've done gotten to where watching one time through is all it'll take me to edit it.
Yeah.
Then when I do clips, I try my best. I usually do pretty good at it. Remembering like, okay, that was early on when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And I'll go carve that out. My new plan is because I had a meeting with the YouTube people. So I get a lot of insight whenever we get to do that. Like our agency gets to have meetings with like the YouTube people. And so there's a lot of insights that come from stuff like that. And I asked the guy, I was like, should I make a separate channel for my podcast? Because my YouTube channel is my skits and stuff like that. He's like, no, YouTube's gotten really good as long as it's all under that comedy umbrella. And especially since you can make a podcast playlist.
Yeah. It's
really good at figuring it out. He's like, what I do recommend is taking like an 8-minute clip that's something really catchy. And that way you can title it whatever you want. And then say it's sitting there like the Lakers suck or whatever. And then Lakers fans will watch it and be like, oh, that was pretty funny. Yeah. I'm going to go watch the podcast. Because just uploading just the podcast, hour long or whatever it may be, people that don't know you are not going to be like, well, let me just spend an hour of my life seeing if this is any good. But they might watch a 5-minute clip of you and be like, that guy's funny. Mm-hmm. I'll go watch the rest of this episode. So I'm going to start doing that.
No, that's smart. I was in mental pretzels over here trying to figure out, because I mean, I don't have near as many subscribers as you do, but I was able to build a little bit with YouTube already, and any little bit helps,
YouTube
as far as
is the one. It's
so
hard.
That's what I did before when my failed attempt at a show. I just put it under the umbrella with a playlist. So I think that's what I'm gonna do here, because I think I can still make an Instagram. Oh, by the way, the podcast name you're on is Hanging Brain, and
I love it.
Megan came up with that.
Actually, you came up with a name, and I thought that would be a clever name for a segment.
Or like I thought you more like a slogan. So like the original name was going to be Cerebral Comedy. That's a little generic, little corporate, but I was like, you know what, it's marketable. Maybe it can make a cool logo. And then she remembered the episode of The Office where Phyllis gets flashed in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And Creed comes in and he's like, what's the big deal? He was just hanging brain. And so she came up with, you can just make the slogan Hanging Brain. And I was like, wait a minute. That's a great name.
That's the name for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't get enough credit. All of his jokes come from me.
He gives you enough credit. He's giving you credit this whole episode.
This is the first time ever I'm about having a heart attack.
He gave you a great compliment the first time he met you. He said you look just like Amy Smart.
She does.
It's insane.
I know she hates it.
Let's just cut to the clip from what is it? Crank.
Crank.
Oh man. Yeah.
The first time I was ever told that, I was 16 or 17 at my sister's house. And all of her ex-husband now's friends were over, and they were very intoxicated. And one of them just turns and looks at me and goes, you know who you look like? I said, who? And he said, the girl that's sucking that toe on that movie. I said, what? He was like, yeah. And then everybody knew what he's talking about. I'd never seen the movie, but apparently she sucks a toe on Road Trip or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the first time. And then after that, it's just been constant ever since.
Well, now you're gonna blow up.
No, what is that? What is that she's doing that in? That's not Road Trip.
Oh, I think that's what they told me.
I don't know.
Oh, dude, that's gonna drive me crazy. I can see her doing it.
Yeah.
No, somebody's sucking her toe on the bus. She falls asleep on Road Trip.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's exactly what it is. She wakes up and it's just a stranger on the bus.
I've never seen it. I refuse to watch it.
Road Trip's a great movie.
I can't now. It's
Tom Green.
You're gonna have a contingent of Road Trip fans and Crank fans begging
people are
you
gonna
to
come
do
at y'all
Road
in the comments.
Trip's way better.
People are gonna come at y'all in the comments and be like, "Y'all need to get your eyes checked. She
No,
looks
they're not.
nothing like her."
No, they're not. That's Amy Smart.
Here's the side by side.
You've done that before. It's not been successful.
How many people have told you that though?
Probably 5.
I would say it's got to
it's got to be more than that.
Well, okay, 5 different
I
occasions.
thought it the second I saw her.
Yeah, no, I've had
5 different occasions. There was multiple people that agreed.
Yeah, I would say it's
Okay.
north of 20 at least. And her
And
sister,
when I'm on stage tonight, I'm going to be like, guys.
yeah. Well, what's going to really blow you away is her sister, her older sister Tina. She'll be there tonight. She looks exactly like
Old.
2000s Taylor Swift, like
Yeah.
with the curly hair.
Curly hair.
When Taylor Swift
Teardrops on
came
my
out
guitar.
with that song, she had people coming up to her. She went to the beach that year. They had at the hangout. They had to get security for her because people wouldn't
That's
leaving her alone.
insane.
They did not believe that was her. Now she really, I mean, she does favor, but it's not like that.
Have y'all seen the girl that has
Yes.
made her online identity Taylor
Yes.
Swift lookalike?
Yeah.
She tries to
It
convince
is-
people that she's not doing it on purpose.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then she uploads reels of herself on the street being like, no, I swear it's not me. I'm like, This is so strange.
Yeah.
It's
We
the
had
strangest thing I've ever seen.
We went on a bachelorette trip in Nashville, and she had someone come up to her and was like, have you ever been told this? She was like, of course, I get told it all the time. But he made her take a picture just hiding her face. So he could post and
Taylor Swift didn't want a picture. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, dude, her hair isn't curly anymore. Like, my sister's hair is still curly.
Yeah.
But I was like, Taylor Swift is not a curly-headed girl anymore, you know?
That's so funny.
Celebrity's a weird thing, man, because now you're getting into it where I'm sure you're recognized a lot, right? And then so this year, I don't think I'd ever met a celebrity outside of this year. And then this year I've met probably 15. And it's weird, man, because I'm of the like thought of just let these people enjoy it. If you want to talk to them, say, you know, whatever. But like, don't bother them for a picture.
Sure,
don't do anything like
exactly.
Says the guy that bothered Jim Gaffigan for a picture.
So
Just for me.
So we're at Gotham Comedy Club, me and RJ Marchand, and I had hired a photographer because I'm trying to get my EPK going. So I wanted some good action shots on stage, and RJ was like, "Hey, I need pictures too. I'll just pay for it for both of us." I was like, "All right, hey, sounds good. I'm not going to fight you." So she takes the pictures. Jim Gaffigan comes in, does a drop-in set during our show.
Wow.
And RJ was like celebrating because he had a good set and he was hammered. Absolutely hammered. So while Jim is like walking out and trying to escape the crowd that's following him, RJ's like, "Jim, I performed with you tonight, and I have this photographer in here. Just stay right here for a second." And just completely, dude, it's so
I didn't
awkward.
even know all that happened.
Oh, it was bad. So like we go out there and this guy looks like the last thing in the world he wants to do, he'd rather kill babies than take this picture. And
Yeah, but then we were over at the bar next to it, and after the show, and Kyle had taken a phone call or something. He comes back in and says, "Man, come here." I was like, "What?" So I run out, and Jim Gaffigan's just leaning up against the wall like a normal guy, and Kyle goes up to him and was like, "Hey, my wife's a big fan. Can she take a picture with you?" And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, don't do this." You know, I didn't say anything to him. I was just like smiling because,
Yeah.
you know, I was starstruck. But if I'd have known that happened, I would have really been mortified.
well, he actually looked happy to take a picture with you. You
Jim
kinda look like his
Gaffigan's dating
daughter.
Amy Smart.
yeah, that's gonna be the new tabloid.
I posted that on Facebook and said, "No, that's not my dad, guys."
No, it's crazy. I'll put that one up on the screen too. She does look like his daughter.
Well,
I
it's
can
just-
see that.
We just
Weird.
both have blonde hair.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the same
both
exact
blonde
color
hair, pasty white, you know.
I saw him in Pensacola about 3 or 4 months ago, and he killed. Killed. His opener bombed bad, but he crushed.
Yeah,
And he did like an
It's
hour and a half,
amazing.
probably.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's the second time I had seen him. I didn't listen to him as intently this time as I did the first time he dropped in 30 minutes just flatlined the place, especially nobody expected him coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Jerry was the same way. When Jerry, dude, we got to get you at Gotham Comedy Club. by
I'm
the way.
ready.
The guy said we can come up whenever if we just give him like 2 weeks notice.
I'm always down for a New York trip.
So are you trying to ramp up the stand-up a little more, or
Yes.
how are you playing things?
So, like, what I want to do is it's one of these things where, like, I want to feel like I have a solid, at least, like, and I mean, when I say solid, like a really, really tight 30 before I'm like, I'm going to start charging people to come see me.
Yeah.
And then I want to go ahead and just book like a little mini tour pretty much.
I think you're very close with how many followers you have on TikTok and all the fame you're getting to be able to do like places like the Stardome here in Birmingham easy.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
did
you
the
could call
Stardome
him
once.
today
Yeah.
and headline a show there just because of your followers. But I get what you're saying is like, I think where a lot of people in your position fall short is they put the cart before the horse, and then
Yep.
people will still follow them, still interact with them, but they might not come back and see them do stand-up. And Stephen Ho, I wasn't familiar with him, but apparently he has 13 million followers on TikTok.
I was familiar
Nice.
with him.
That's,
I send all of his TikToks to like my best friend who's a nurse. So it makes sense.
So I was asked to come host those shows this weekend, man, and I immediately thought about you because he was okay. He's pretty good stand-up. It's coming along. He's still working through some things. I think you're right there with him, talent-wise, stand-up, to be honest with you. But like the way he just ran his meet and greet and stuff, and I got to meet his assistant. It was very well oiled, and I was like, oh yeah, this could be Justin's life.
I have a
soon.
lot of people that like. and I guess it's my problem. It's not somebody else's. But like, they'll be like, "Hey, can you come?" Blah 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 blah, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll come do 20 minutes or whatever it may be." And they'd be like, "Yeah," and then maybe you could get on stage as like Grandpa or Aunt Dolores and like mess with the crowd. And I was like, "No, absolutely not. Absolutely not."
I love that. Yeah, that's how it should be. It's like respecting the art and not cheaping it out. But like Southern Grandpa's still a great character.
They'll bring up people that do it, and I'm like, yeah, I understand that. I'm not knocking those people. They should do whatever they want to do. If they want to get on stage and do 10 minutes and then do 30 minutes of questions, they should do that.
Yeah.
I feel like if I did that, people would be like, yeah, man, that was good. I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel.
I know I've seen your 20-minute set once before, and we'll see it again tonight. It's fantastic, man. Yeah. And I think you pay respect because the whole Southern Grandpa character is based off your real grandpa who you had on the podcast recently.
Yes.
And I think you do it just as good justice just telling stories about him, man. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, and like since I've seen y'all, obviously I've got more material and it's ironed out a little bit better, but like I just don't want that character to be my stand-up. And like there's plenty of people that do a character for stand-up and actually still do stand-up, like Ginger Billy and people like that, and they do well. I just feel like if I got up there as Grandpa or Larry the Cable Guy and did stand-up, maybe they would come back. But, like, I don't have any Grandpa stand-up.
Yeah.
If I'm on stage as Grandpa, what am I going to do? I'm either going to do my sayings or just, what you wearing out there, boy, in the crowd? I don't feel like they're going to come back.
Yeah, it'd be crowd work heavy. You could do that. I think if people...
It's popular.
Crowd work's great, and then it makes for great clips.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You're not burning material.
No.
That's fine. But if I did crowd work, it wouldn't be as Grandpa.
No, yeah.
I don't do crowd work anyway. I think it's a great thing to do to build your socials.
I think people who do crowd work are very witty. You know, they have to be very witty on the spot.
The good ones.
Matt Rife is amazing at crowd work.
There's a lot of bad crowd work out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's some of them just mean.
I saw Chris D'Elia had a bit the other day making fun of.
Yeah,
did you see it? I loved it so much.
And I feel like a hater too because I don't do crowd work, but it's like, yeah, some of it's just tacky and bad.
It is. It's just like, okay, you ask the guy with the funny hat, what the fuck's he doing wearing that funny hat, and everybody laughed because they saw his hat. Like, yeah, but you really weren't funny.
Yeah.
It's just a situational thing.
Well, it's like anything else, man. It fades, and I think it can get you to a certain point, but then there's certain agents, managers, bookers of comedy clubs who they're going to look for you to be able to construct a joke and deliver that joke.
Exactly.
And so it's just going to get you to a certain point.
I agree.
It's the same thing with whether you're doing social media or you don't do social media at all and you're just a comic. There's avenues to get wherever, but there's this glass ceiling you got to break through to get to that next level of, being a really solid feature for a headliner, and maybe you're traveling for that, or you're a headliner quality, but you maybe don't have the crowd backing behind you or the fan base. But there's so many ways to make money in comedy, man.
And that's what happens to people, in my opinion, who have the big social media following like I do. I have a big social media following. I could probably go sell tickets as a headliner right now.
Oh, yeah.
But then when they get there, are they going to feel like they got their money's worth?
Yeah.
And right now, I don't feel like they would.
Yeah.
Even if like a solid 30, I just don't feel like that's enough to charge.
Yeah, and if you were like really had the pressure on of like, I got to capitalize on this now, there's ways around. Like you could just really stack your show with like a really good feature. But I think you're doing the right thing, man. Like really wait till you're ready to go out there and kill, and then you can still stack your show with great features, great acts.
Dude, a lot of the shows I've been a part of too, they make a really big mistake in making the show too long.
Oh, yeah.
And by the time the headliner gets up there, everybody's tired.
Yeah.
And now this headliner is going to do an hour?
Or super drunk already.
Yeah, and so the people are sitting there like 30 minutes into that guy's set, and you start feeling bad for him because it's not that he's not funny. They're just kind of sitting out there like...
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, because 6 people went before him.
Yeah. That's why I love the way we constructed the show we have tonight.
It's perfect.
We got a host who's not as experienced, but he's pretty ingrained in the community. And then we have a really good guest spot of a guy who's very high energy, bring the energy up.
Yeah.
It leading into pretty much 3 20-minute headliners. And
which by the time this is on, or been
Yeah,
released. The show's gonna be over,
The
so
show
don't
will
even
be
worry
over.
about it.
Might bring a camera down and shoot some like highlights of the show, like material.
Sweet.
But it's gonna be fun. Then we have a musical act at the end.
Right.
An Indian rapper. So we'll see how people
He's awesome.
He is cool, man. He's really, really cool. He just doesn't get a chance to promote his stuff a lot. But you go look at his TikTok. If you don't look at the viewer count, just like the quality of his stuff and his videos, you would think, oh man, this guy's probably got 1 million followers. So
If he keeps it up, he will. That's the thing about it's almost any social media, but for sure TikTok. Like if you post on there consistently and you have high quality, you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
TikTok is also the app I hate the most.
I asked Stephen Ho this weekend. If you, for whatever reason, you had to start over at zero, but you can keep all the knowledge you have now, do you feel like you would get there faster and avoid pitfalls and have the same success? Like you know the formula?
I would get there way faster. As a matter of fact, if I knew what I knew now and got to start during COVID,
oh yeah,
I think that it would be insane.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a lot of these people that you're like, hey, he's got 20 million followers, and then you talk to those people, they're like, oh yeah, man, during COVID I was doing like 5 videos a day and it was insane. Like, yeah, nobody had anything else to do.
Yeah.
It was so smart. I wish I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. I was working and scared, and like
I've seen those TikTok trends where it's like, if only I was brave enough to shake my butt on TikTok, 4 years ago. I'm like,
you could make like a doppelganger Amy Smart OnlyFans and probably do pretty well, right?
yeah,
I mean,
you really could.
we got bills to pay. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we have bills to pay because you're a comedian that doesn't get paid, but you decide to get studio.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is investments right here.
It is
Investments. Okay.
But I tell you, I don't judge anybody, including myself. I can say this because my TikTok following is my biggest. I don't judge people by their TikTok following. I don't feel like it's real.
Oh yeah.
And if you like all the people that you talk to, your corporate gigs and everything else you get, they don't either.
Yeah.
They're looking at your IG, they're looking at your Facebook. They do. Some people care about Twitter. I've just now started doing Twitter. I don't like it.
Twitter's not a thing anymore.
X, whatever it is. But like, they don't judge it off TikTok because like, there's people that be like, I have 60 million TikTok followers.
But
they really
look at their Instagram.
And then even if you look at their TikTok videos, it's like, yeah, you're getting like 9,000 views a video though.
Yeah, they'll have one video that has like 2 million views, but the rest of them have like 95.
There was a guy that I worked with whose wife put up a nurse, like it was one of those things where like they used the music for something else and made like a little skit, and it was like when your psych patient shows up at 2 a.m, and she was just pretending to be like a psych patient, took off running. This video had like 80 million views. She got 400 and something thousand followers from this.
Wow.
But no video has done well since.
Yeah,
it's just TikTok is weird.
It is weird. I feel like they went through some changes about a year ago with the algorithm. Maybe even less than that.
Awful.
But
like it's the most inconsistent, and this is across the board. Every creator that I talk to is the same way. Like there'll be periods of time where you're just burning content pretty much.
Y'all are both gonna get on y'all's TikToks after this, and it's just gonna be like banned.
Yeah,
that would be fine with me.
Us, and
if my TikTok went away, I would be fine.
Well, you got a great following. What are you at? About 700,000 on Instagram?
Yeah,
now?
I think like 710 today.
That's dude. Instagram is so hard to grow.
That and YouTube.
YouTube. Oh God, yeah.
My goal right now is 1 million Instagram and 100K YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm really pushing for that 100K YouTube. I'm trying so hard.
Do you feel like shorts are helping you with that?
Yeah, it's growing so fast. Like, I'm so happy about it because I'm getting like, I would say like 10K followers maybe like every 2-3 days.
Oh,
like
wow.
it's finally taken off.
That's awesome, man.
Now every now and then, like I'll put up a short maybe like 2-3 times a week, and they're almost guaranteed to get for sure over 100K, but it's going to be anywhere between 100K and like 5 million.
Yeah. I mean, YouTube is a much smaller scale for me, and I'll post videos that probably not great production value, and probably not very well thought out when I was really pushing social media a few months ago. And even those would do 2 to 10K, and I would get 5-10 followers.
I tell you, YouTube. The thing with YouTube is attention span.
Yeah,
it's a lot of younger people. It's a lot of middle school kids, high school kids.
Yeah.
Like, grab them right off the bat, and try to keep them. Like, that's where Mr. Beast does so well. It's people think it's because he runs a train into the Grand Canyon, but it's not.
Yeah.
If you watch his videos, he literally is cutting, and he's really enthusiastic the whole time. If you turn on a Mr. Beast video, like, my son will be sitting there and like 5 minutes in, he's just like, and I'm like, because he hasn't stopped talking and hasn't quit cutting the whole time.
Yeah.
So you'll watch 45-minute video of Mr. Beast and not even realize what happened.
Yeah,
it's attention, I'm telling you. That's why I've started catering my shorts. I make a different one for YouTube.
Yeah.
First of all, they have an overlay tool with their AI that picks it up. And if it's on other platforms, they won't push it.
Oh, really?
I learned that from YouTube. And then I try to start my YouTube video with like a grab. I don't know if you saw the video I did where I beat the fuck out of Chucky.
Yeah.
So for YouTube, it doesn't start the same way it does on everything else. With YouTube, I started it almost like a Mr. Beast style, where it starts zooming in on Chucky's face, and like I say under the mic, like, this is how the Chucky movie should have been. And then it cuts to me beating the hell out of him, and it did better.
Yeah, no, it was yeah, man, it's interesting because I was just editing a clip from one of my old podcasts that I did earlier this week, and I'm editing and everything's okay, trying to keep it under 90 seconds, I think, for Reels on Instagram.
And a minute for Shorts.
And that's the thing is, like, now I got to go back and re-edit this because I didn't realize, like, it's got to be under a minute for YouTube Shorts.
You need to anyway, though, because the overlay will pick it up and be like, oh, okay, this is on other platforms.
Yeah.
That YouTube wants their material to be YouTube specific.
Yeah.
Which is a good quality to have, I guess. Just makes it harder for us.
Is there any other, like, new ones? I know Threads is a Facebook thing.
I haven't used them.
Megan, you're on Threads. What's that like?
It's just like Twitter, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got it because I don't really know why I got it.
Can you post, like, clips on there, though?
I don't think so. I think it's, like, connected to your Instagram.
Right.
So, like, you would have more engagement in, like instead of
Twitter
the comment
used to
section.
Be, where it would just be, like, writing 150 characters or whatever it was.
So if you, for advice for comedians out there, if you're starting a podcast, like I like very much the boat I'm in. I know you said don't do a separate channel for YouTube, but what about Instagram and TikTok?
I did.
Okay.
I did. The podcast page on Instagram's hard to grow. It's a little slower. I'll invite myself as a collaborator sometimes to get some numbers boosts. On TikTok, it was easy to grow. Like, all you need is like a catchy title and then an outrageous something you're talking about. Like, I was talking to my wife and I was whistling my S's when I was talking to her. And people loved it. And like, I called her as soon as the podcast started. I was like, here's my wife, my sex toy. And dude, that video blew up. And she gets all embarrassed. And like, for whatever reason, that clip got like 1 million views on a brand new channel.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was because it was me. And the podcast page got like monetized in like a week. Like, because the follower grew so fast. So on TikTok, I would recommend doing a separate channel for the podcast.
Okay. Any other tips out there for creators?
Just keep at it and like listen to other people. Like, we've all done it. We've all made a video in the beginning where you're just like, man, I'm killing this. I don't know why I'm getting no views. I'll go watch them now and be like, this is dog shit. This is terrible. It's awful.
Yeah.
So like, when people tell you, or like, this sucks, it probably does. But just keep at it. You know, it's fun and heartbreaking all at the same time. You work really hard on a video that does nothing, and then you upload one of your lawnmower, and it does however many millions.
Yeah. So this episode will release, I think, the second week of September. So do you have anything around that or after that you want to plug before we get out of here?
I'll have some shows coming up in October in Bay St. Louis and Mandeville, Louisiana. And then I think that's all I'll have. Oh, I got a show coming up in October 11th with Brittany Smith and Amanda Meadows, who are fellow content creators that are going to do some stand-up, and I'm going to headline it in Savannah, Georgia.
Cool.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, Savannah's a great city, man.
Yeah, I've never been, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, well, I went on my bachelorette trip. R.I.P.
Yeah.
That was rough.
I'm not even sure if it's the same.
I haven't seen either of them do stand-up, but Brittany's really funny. Amanda's really funny. I'm sure they're going to do fine.
Well, that's be a great show, man. Hopefully around that same time, too, we'll have something in New York.
Let's do it.
Gotham Comedy Club. I could probably get us definitely 2 shows, maybe 3 or 4 at a few other comedy clubs I'll reach out to.
Yeah.
So if you're in Savannah, New York,
Hitting all the...
yeah, if you're in any of those places around October,
I'll be
come out and
posting
see.
everything, so y'all come on out.
I would tell you to come out to Tuscaloosa tonight, but by the time you see that, it's going to be
It'll
way
be
too
already
late.
happened.
Yeah, I mean, you can still go to Tuscaloosa. I'm sure there's something going
Yeah,
on.
there's something going on there.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank y'all.